Hey guys, welcome to Unbiased Rugby. This is week 19 preview show. So I'm going to preview the games that are going to be happening this week 19. It's obviously the last weekend of Super Rugby, or for the round robin. Not round robin, we don't have a round robin, we have a conference system. But it's the last game of the regular season before we get to the knockouts. It's quite an interesting weekend coming up because it has a lot of permutations on where the final standings are. Are the Rebels going to make it? Are the Sharks going to get through? So yeah, there's quite a few permutations. Honestly, as a South African, I'd love to see the Sharks get through. That's why a lot of my predictions that I'm going to be doing now today are really based on what I'd like to see happen. I'm hoping that last weekend I was hoping to see a few things happen. I'm hoping this weekend will be the same. So yeah, let me go through the games and I'll give you my score predictions. So the first game of the weekend, we've got the Chiefs versus the Hurricanes. I've put the Chiefs by 5. I've decided, normally I always support South African sides, but I'm always a big believer you've got to have skin in the game, and I believe you should support some team in the conferences, and in the Australian conferences I've always supported the Reds. So South African conference is the Bulls, and so it'd been taking a while for me to decide on my New Zealand side that I'd like to support. And I remember last year I had the Chiefs in my mind, and so this year I've got the Chiefs in my mind again, and I think I've decided that the Chiefs are going to be my team going forward. I would have chosen the Blues, but I just have a feeling that the Chiefs would be my side if I was living in New Zealand. So those are my 3 teams for Super Rugby. So it's the Bulls, the Reds, and the Chiefs. But yeah, so I've got the Chiefs to win by 5, even though David McKenzie's not playing, and I know Brodie Retallick is back, my favourite forward in the world, probably one of my favourite rugby players in the world. So it'd be great to see him back. I don't know if he'll play the full game, but it's good to see the big guys coming back. So I've put the Chiefs by 5 because that's what I'd like to see. I know with the permutations on how the Chiefs and the Hurricanes could play again next weekend in the knockouts, but yeah, let's see. I know the Chiefs are they're both on a run. They both want to try get momentum going forward. So let's see. But yeah, I've got the Chiefs by 5. Next game of the weekend, we've got the Reds versus the Sunwolves. I didn't even know I'd done that. I'm going to have to change that. I put the Sunwolves by 9, and I don't know why. I must have actually hit the thing the wrong way around. But it's actually the Reds by 9. Look, it'd be great to see the Sunwolves win. It'd be 4 games that they've won. If the Reds lose and the Blues beat the Crusaders, which is highly doubtful, then the Blues would go past the Reds and they'd be third last to the thing. But I've got the Reds by 9. If the Reds win, then they end third bottom of the log, ahead of the Blues and the Sunwolves. I've got the Reds by 9. Saturday, the first game of the weekend, we've got the Highlanders versus the Rebels. I know it's a pretty much a must-win game for the Rebels to absolutely guarantee their spot, an 8th spot. Means they'd have to travel all the way to... where would they travel to? I was trying to look at the permutations of who they'd be playing. It'd be either the Waratahs or the Crusaders, which is like really difficult. But I think the Highlanders they've had a few bad performances in a row, and they really need to get onto their winning ways to be able to get some momentum going forward into the knockouts. I've actually put quite a big score for the Highlanders, especially playing down in Forsyth Bar Stadium. I think I got that right. So I've got the Highlanders by 17. I think it's going to be a high scoring game, but I think the Highlanders are going to pull that out of the bag, which is going to put the Rebels in a pretty dangerous spot to obviously not make the playoffs. Because if the Sharks beat the Jaguares, then they'd make the playoffs and the Rebels would be knocked out. Next game of the weekend, we've got the Crusaders versus the Blues. I've made it a bit of a tight game. I think the Blues are going to come out all firing, but I don't think they're going to have I just don't think they have... I wouldn't say the skill level. I just don't think they have the same processes in place. If they're down, they seem to get desperate. I just feel there's something wrong there. There's a coaching issue, and I love Tato Monga as a player, but I'm just not sure if he's a Super Rugby coach. I think maybe he should have coached as somewhere else first. Maybe gone up north as assistant coach or a forwards coach. No, not a forwards coach, a backline coach or an attacking coach, and then worked up to. But the Blues need someone quite charismatic, quite strong to be able to turn that team around. But I've got the Crusaders by 8, so I think it's still going to be a tight game. But the Crusaders should take that quite comfortably. Next game of the weekend, we've got the Waratahs versus the Brumbies. I'm not sure if the Brumbies have a mathematical chance of still making the playoffs, but I highly doubt they're going to make the playoffs. But they've started improving in their rugby and for the last couple of weeks, and they're the Brumby of old. I remember when George Gregan used to play for them. I think it was George Gregan. I just remember what a wonderful side they were, and then they've won championships, and so they should be up there in the Australian Conference. But I still think the Waratahs this year are still pretty strong, and I think the Waratahs are going to take that game by 4. Next game, we've got the Lions versus the Bulls. This is a tough one because as a South African, it'd be nice to see the Bulls actually win, the Lions actually win, and obviously secure that top spot in the South African Conference. But I can't do it any other way. I've put the Bulls to win by 9. I just can't. Altitude shouldn't affect either one of these teams. They both play on the half veld. But I can't. Maybe I won't be super disappointed if the Lions win. But I've still put the Bulls by 9. The last game of the weekend, I think, is probably going to be. Well, I just don't know. The Sharks, I just never know which team's going to pitch up. If it's going to be the team that wins or the team that loses, I just don't know. They're just so erratic, and it's just so hard to support a team that's erratic. It's okay to support a team that's is always going to do badly. Okay, doesn't sound right. But if every week you're expecting a win and then you lose, and then you're expecting a loss and then they win, and then you just don't know. But of all the South African sides, I think if the Sharks win, they're going to have no fear about travelling to Christchurch and playing the Crusaders. They know they don't have a chance. They might as well just throw everything in the kitchen sink at it. So they might be a completely unknown quantity for the Crusaders. And I must admit, any team, if they could knock out the Crusaders, it would open up this entire playoff section. Because, look, let's be honest, it looks like the Crusaders are going to win back-to-back. They're on track for it. They're peaking at the right time. Actually, they peaked the whole season. So but I've still put. But the Hawaiis are just as good. I think they were a bit rattled last week, but I think they're going to bounce back this week for against the Sharks. But sorry to say, I've put the Sharks by 9. If that happens and the Rebels lose, then at least there'll be 3 teams from the African Conference in there. I'd still say that the Jaguares are probably the most improved side in South Africa. Also, look, if the Lions lose, like I've predicted, and the Jaguares win, then they take the top of the log, and then anyone who has to play them has to travel all the way to South America, and it'll probably be the Lions that have to go do that. So it's an interesting weekend of rugby coming up. I'm hoping to watch as many games as possible, or at least get to see the highlights. I'm looking at the games here. I think the Chiefs Hurricanes game is going to be quite good. Crusaders Blues is also going to be quite good. I think the derbies are always generally good. Red Sunwolves, now Crusaders Blues, Highlanders Rebels should be fairly entertaining. I think the Waratahs Brumbies game is going to be super exciting, and then probably the last game, the Sharks versus the Hawaiis, is probably also going to be quite good, depending on what Sharks side puts up. But yes, guys, that's my predictions for week 19 of Super Rugby. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you have a great weekend of watching rugby. Chat soon. Cheers. Bye.